My name is Wendi Turchan. I work as a painter, as a visual artist. I'm also a teacher. We are in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, in my new studio that I moved into at the end of September, and working my way into the space, filling it out with lots of color. I have, for many years, been kind of all over the place with content and idea, working on different series of work. But in late March, I had an idea that struck me at a time when I was really stressed out and I was taking a break. And it just kind of went boom, and now I'm kind of all in on this one idea. And I've never really been all in on something before, and it's really exciting. I've always been one of those people that has those huge moments where the landscape really impacts me emotionally, and I know I'm not alone in that. I was in LA for the other art fair in March, and it was very stressful but really wonderful. And one of the mornings, my fiance and I went for a walk around the reservoir, the Hollywood Reservoir, and I just saw this humongous agave plant that was tumbling down this hill, and I was like, why am I not showing these things as they are? And so what I came home, and what I started doing was taking the actual images and I traced them onto tracing paper. And so what you see are the actual contours of the thing itself, but that it becomes abstracted through color and pattern and texture, which is something that I've been passionate about for a really long time. And I'm, thinking they take a really long time to make, and the process is really technical. And it makes me think a lot about what it means to nurture something and to care for it and to have it grow the way that we do kind of out in nature and with the things that we take care of. And I just feel like it's just filled with all of these endless possibilities, and something that's a culmination of everything I've been thinking about. So I'm really all in on these plants, and being okay with the fact that sometimes they look like something nameable, and other times they look like they could be a lot of different things. Every time I kind of work on this new series of work, I'll get really excited and I'll make this one piece that I feel like is kind of perfect. And then I'm always chasing it because it just felt like something that would happen once. And with these, because I have kind of the contours, the shape of the plant is kind of the thing that grounds me, but I can play with it however I want to. I can infuse it with so many different patterns and textures and colors that it feels like I could just keep going and keep playing and keep playing. And that I'm always going to want to make another one. I don't think that I'm ever going to make that one that feels like, okay, this is it, I'm ready to move on. And well, now what do I move on to? And I'm stuck. And I feel like now that I started making these teeny tiny ones, it's an experiment with color and ideas, and I find myself coming up with things that seem really obvious but that I hadn't thought of before because I'm a little bit set in my mindset. And so it just feels and also there's just an endless amount of plants and natural materials in the world, that the shapes, the way they kind of fold and move and live and change, it's always going to be growing. I feel like for a long time I was trying to make things to satisfy other people without realizing I was doing it. I think towards the end of graduate school, I felt like I had made a body of work that I really kind of stood for, and I knew what I wanted, and I was really excited about making it and the process. But then when I finished school and I kept trying to work, I just couldn't make those pieces anymore. So I think there was an idea of kind of a hope that would be something that would sustain me then, but as soon as I got out of that space, I just couldn't make that work anymore. When I had that moment when I realized I can't make this work anymore, I keep trying and trying and trying and it's not working, I started thinking about things that were more organic. And I spent years trying to figure out how to make a painting with a circle or how to make, because I was always working with rectangles and boxes and forms. And then I just started thinking about what do I love? What do I care about? I love nature and outside and celebrating the beauty of that. I think especially in a world where we feel a little bit dejected about how the environment is going, celebrating what we have right now and thinking about it as precious. But I also love products. I love product design. I love packaging. I love the way that when something is a certain color or looks a certain way, you want to buy it and you want to take it and you want to think about it. And I love the idea of kind of fusing those things together. I'm getting ready to do a small business Saturday sale, and I was thinking about affordability. I love collecting art, but I can't afford to buy really large pieces. And I often buy limited edition prints, but sometimes you want something one of a kind, something that, is original. And that's why I started making these. And so I was thinking about, this really informed this, but now with these, thinking about different textures, different colors and patterns and how they can kind of fuse together, it's informing some of the pieces that are over there. And so I found that I really want to keep working in this wide scope of scale. And so I think it's just seeing how something works and then wanting to see if it can work in another way, in another context. And wanting to just kind of keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing, keep asking questions. I think it's about just finding something, and to also be okay with the fact that you have to think about yourself as a business. So is there something that you can do creatively that's going to fund money for materials and supplies? Is it, making really small work and selling it so that you can use the sale of this to fund the larger work? I think it's just, and also being okay with the fact that a lot of artists also have day jobs, and find one that doesn't interfere with your creative process. If it's really draining and really exhausting and when you come home you don't really want to be working, then try something else. And just when you're there, say, okay, I'm going to do the best job I can do while I'm here. Then I'm going to go home and I'm going to do what I really want to do. I found that especially if you're in a situation where you are with your work and you're trying to sell it, people want to hear your story. They want to know about you. They're buying a little piece of you, so they want to know about how you made it and why you made it and what it means to you. And if it's so significant that it's something that you're going to sell, that you want someone to have the opportunity to live with in their lives, then it should mean something to you. And to be okay with sharing that in some way. If you just kind of sound like you're not passionate about what you're doing, then, that's less exciting. And then I think also variety has been helpful for me as far as selling my work online, selling it in different places, in different contexts, so that I'm not reliant upon one thing. And I think, I said to be genuine. I think there have been times where I've been afraid to be that way, and that hasn't been helpful for me, because that's not always easy to kind of, we kind of have this when we go out in the world, and I think it can be difficult to be vulnerable. I don't think this is true for everyone, but I think it was very true for me. I think there was a certain amount of unhappiness in my life that I didn't realize was there, that was really holding me back. And I have been in a place for a few years now where my life is really happy and I feel really strong as a person, and I don't think that was always the case. And so I think when you become kind of more self-confident and more assertive and less concerned about, I kind of just realized this is what I want to make, and I'm not going to apologize, not that you have to apologize for it, but if no one cares about this, if no one likes this or is interested in it, it doesn't matter to me. I just want to make it. And also just kind of having a whole life that is positive and happy and joyful, where I feel like I have the ability to thrive on my own. I think that then once all the possibilities feel open and nothing feels like it's kind of pushing you down, then you just go. And it's not going to be for everyone, but it's for me, and maybe it will be for someone, but it's what I feel called to do. And so I'm just going to do it for as long as it, hoping it feels good for a while. We'll see.